Alright, so this definitely isn't the video I thought I was going to be making today, but apparently a brand new Cyberdragon structure deck has been leaked, which is very exciting, as it's something the community's been wanting for God knows how long, and it's probably the most predicted structure deck to be released into the game, as just about every time anyone has tried to guess what structure decks will be coming to Duel Links, Cyberdragon was number one on that list. So it's good to see they're finally doing it, and it's also coming at a pretty good time, as obviously Cyberdragon recently completely gutted. They took Cyberstyle and just deleted it from existence, meaning it's a good time to try to give Cyberdragon some new support. And it's the main reason why most people wanted Cyberdragon to be nerfed, as with the Cyberdragon nerfs, it meant that they could try to add some new Xyz monsters and bring some more Cyberdragon support into the archetype without breaking it into oblivion, because it's already a pretty strong deck. Alright, so we got 4 new cards and a skill. So we'll go through the skill first, as it's kind of needed before we go through the cards, otherwise some of the cards won't make a lot of sense. So, the skill we're getting is Cyberstyle Evolution. At the beginning of the duel, add 1 Cyber Emergency and Power Bond to the bottom of your deck. In addition, the following effects can be used twice per turn and thrice per duel. Select 1 Cyberdragon on the field and change it to level 5. So keep in mind, Cyberdragon monsters, there's a bunch of them, such as Core, when on the field or in the graveyard, just have their name become Cyberdragon. So this doesn't just apply to the base Cyberdragon. This skill will only activate if you begin the duel with a deck that has 12 or more Dragon-type, Machine-type monsters. Right, Dragon-type or Machine-type monsters. Extra deck does not count. This is pretty important, as this may not seem like a very hefty requirement, but you will definitely notice this when you try to play the deck. There's going to be a lot less tech cards than you probably want. And this may cause people to start running things like 30 card Cyberdragon or stuff just to fit more tech cards into the deck. Because it's literally only, if you want to run a 20 card deck, this literally only leaves 8 slots for spell and trap cards. And considering this deck's going to have like fusion spells and stuff in it as well, it doesn't leave a whole lot of room for stuff. But anyway, we'll see if this actually becomes a really big problem when the deck's actually released. It's really hard to predict that kind of stuff now. But 12 does seem like a pretty hefty price to me. Alright, so Cyber Emergency. Add 1 light machine monster that cannot be normal summoned or set, or add 1 Cyberdragon monster from your deck to your hand. If the activation of this card in its owner's possession was negated by your opponent's card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can discard 1 card, add this card to your hand. Alright, so a nice little searcher for the deck, but keep in mind, obviously this is at the bottom of your deck, you don't just get to add it to hand or anything like that, so you'd probably have to search for it if you want it. Which is kind of odd, because you're just going to be searching for a searcher, but either way, I guess it kind of makes sense because it means you could use Core to search for Cyber Emergency, then Cyber Emergency can search for a monster, so it essentially makes Core now a searcher for monsters as well as a searcher for any of the spell and trap cards in the deck, which is pretty sick. And then we have Power Bond. Fusion summon 1 machine fusion monsters from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material, and it gains attack equal to its original attack, so essentially it doubles the attack of the fusion monster you're summoning. During the end phase of the turn this card is activated, you take damage equal to the amount of attack gained from this effect at the time of the summon. Which would be pretty funny if you summon Cyber End Dragon, because then you do 4,000 damage to yourself. But this also means you can make an 8,000 attack Cyber End Dragon, which is pretty nuts. So we'll see how this goes. This card isn't searchable by Cyberdragon Core, by the way. It doesn't feature Cyberdragon or anything like that. But it is searchable by one of the new cards. So we got 4 new cards. Cyber Pharaohs. You can special summon this card from your hand by tributing 1 machine monster. Once per turn during your main phase, you can fusion summon a machine fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand and or field as a material. When a fusion monster you control is destroyed by battle, you can banish this card from your graveyard, add 1 Power Bond from your deck to your hand. So obviously this card can search for Power Bond when one of your fusion monsters is destroyed, which is kind of nice, but it does mean your fusion monster has to be destroyed by battle. Not the greatest effect. But the first effect, it's kind of odd, and I'm not really sure how to feel about it. It's kind of like, obviously it's fusion spell substitute card, so you can use it in place of running fusion spells, which can kind of help when you're going for more of an Xyz variant and you're forced to run so many monsters. It means you can run less of the spells and run more of the monster cards, because you could just run this card instead. It's kind of odd though, and I don't particularly like it that much. I'm not really sure, the whole use of the special summon effect on it doesn't seem all that useful to me. Basically, the only reason I can see people wanting to run this card is, like I said, because you have such a hefty requirement that has to run so many monsters that maybe you want to run less fusion spells and you could just run this instead. Or maybe because, I don't know, it seems kind of odd. Like, I don't think it's good enough. The power bond effect, search effect, doesn't seem all that great to me, as it has to be destroyed by battle, which is not great. If your opponent sees this card in your graveyard, they're just going to make sure to destroy your monster in the normal way by just vanishing or just destroying it with normal card effects. So I don't like it that much. Either way, this is the least exciting of the cards, so we can ignore this one for now. I don't think this one is super likely to see that much play, other than to try to fill up the requirements needed for this, which you may not even use anyway, because there's plenty of other good Cyber Dragon monsters in the game, especially considering this is looking like it's going into more of an Xyz direction, and there's a lot of very helpful Xyz support Cyber Dragon monsters in the game already. Alright, Cyber Dragon NACHSTER. NACHSTER? I have no idea how to pronounce that. This card's name becomes Cyber Dragon while in the field or in the graveyard. You can discard one other monster, special summon this card from your hand. If this card is normal or special summoned, you target one machine monster with 2100 attack or defense in your graveyard. Special summon it. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except machine type monsters. So, the main reason this card is going to be really good is purely because of the new skill. If the new skill wasn't here, this card would seem like absolute trash. But basically, this card, it discards a Cyber Dragon, and then it reses a Cyber Dragon. So this card by itself will be able to make any rank 5 Xyz monster. So, because obviously the new skill, it makes you choose any Cyber Dragon monster and make it level 5. This card is in fact a Cyber Dragon on the board. Yep, so it discards a Cyber Dragon monster, resurrects a Cyber Dragon, there's 2 monsters on board, you can use the skill twice per turn, make both level 5, or if you already sent a Cyber Dragon, it would obviously already be level 5, and you can make any rank 5 Xyz monster. This skill has no limitations on extra deck rank 5s, so you can run any of them that you like, meaning any rank 5 Xyz monster currently in Duel Links, which, to be fair, there's not a whole lot of them, and they're not all that great, but the few that we do have are now extremely easy to summon in decks like this. Especially things like how you pronounce this card, which is like a once per turn, you can attach one material from this card. It's in the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck to the graveyard. If any monsters were sent, destroy cards your opponent controls up to the number of monsters sent. Non-target destruction removal. This does take 3 level 5s, but it should be pretty easy to summon in this deck. And there's plenty of others, like little ones, like this Volcanosaurus, which you can target and remove. You've got Adrius, which is another target remove. You've got a back row remover in Wind Up. You've got this guy who's immune to destruction effects, I think. Yeah, so we've got quite a small card full of cards, but there might be some hidden gems in here that will be a lot better now that we have a skill that's almost built around them. And of course, we've also got a new one coming up, which will be the main focus of the deck, and it might even be the only rank 5 we use in the deck, considering the rest of the extra deck might just be filled with fusion monsters. As you'll see, there's a good reason to run fusion monsters with Nova anyway, as we'll talk about in a bit. But yeah, this card is now basically a one card with a discard, making a rank 5. Alright. Cyber Rev System. Special summon one Cyber Dragon from your hand or graveyard. It cannot be destroyed by card effects. I'm not particularly sure on this one. This card does seem really good to me, or like it would be a good card. The only big issue I see with running it at the moment would be we haven't got that much space in the deck at the moment. This requirement, remember, if we're running a 20 card deck, we've only got 8 slots. So this card has to fit in the 8 slots. This has to fit in over all the Cyber Dragon stuff we already have. So we're obviously probably going to be running a couple of these guys. So maybe one of this, one of this. So that's already 2 slots taken down. We're probably going to be running... Oh damn it, I forgot the names of the cards. I've actually forgotten the name of it. Either way, there's that other fusion spell that has to banish from the graveyard to fusion summon as well. There's also machine duplication, whatever it's called, that we're also probably going to be running. It's meaning there's a lot less space in this deck than you might think. So running something like this, it would have to be good enough to be better than all those cards. So being able to just have a monster born in Cyber Dragon for specifically Cyber Dragon stuff, I'm not sure. It does make Xyz summoning a bit easier if you don't have your NACHSTER in hand, but you probably always have NACHSTER when you've got Core as well, because Core can search for NACHSTER now with Emergency, so I'm not sure if this card's going to make the cut in the deck. Very not sure. It's not a bad card by any means, it's just a monster reborn. I don't think any of these cards have any special summon effects. Oh, this card has a special summon effect. If this card's not special summon, you can target. Yeah, so you can actually use this card to resurrect. So maybe you run this as a one-off because it's like a very good comeback card. You can use Core to search for it. Then you can use this effect to resurrect this monster, which can then on special summon bring back one of your other ones from grave as well. It's a pretty good. It's a very good comeback card. So maybe you run it as a one-off. It's a pretty good card and it does combo super well with NACHSTER. It's just, like I said, it has to try to make the 8-card cut left in the deck, which is pretty rough. Alright, so let's move on to the actual exciting card. The main reason to go into this structure deck. Cyber Dragon Nova. 2 level 5 machine monsters. Once per turn you can attach 1 material from this card, then target 1 Cyber Dragon in your graveyard, special summon that target. Once per turn, quick effects. You can banish 1 Cyber Dragon from your hand or face up from your monster zone. This card gains 2100 attack until the end of the turn, so keep in mind it is a quick effect. If this card in your possession is sent to your graveyard by your opponent's card effect, you can special summon 1 machine fusion monster from your extra deck. Oh boy, so there's a lot of cool things about this card that make it very good. First of all, it kind of, unless your opponent is running banish removal, which to be fair isn't super uncommon, or return to hand removal as well, so something like Cyber Slash Harpy would deal with this very easily, which is a bit of an issue, but a lot of decks will have trouble actually properly dealing with this, because they want to destroy it by battle, but if you try to do that, it gains 2100 attack, and you have to deal with a, 4200 attack monster? Not the easiest thing to deal with. And if you remove it by a destruction, or just send removal, or just sending it to the graveyard, it can summon any machine fusion monster from your extra deck. And there are quite a few beefy ones in the game, so let's go through a few of them. Alright. Okay, so keep in mind there's a few of these cards you can't summon, such as things like this that say must first be fusion summoned, blah blah blah, or yeah, so just things that have like must first be fusion summoned, or I think, where are these guys? There's some things that say can only be fusion summoned and stuff like that. Those cards can't be summoned, so there's only a few targets, but there are still a few good ones. So you can summon most of the Cyber Dragon stuff already, so obviously things like Chimera Tech, Twin Head, Cyber End, wherever he is, all that kind of normal stuff. That's like you know, we already know that stuff's coming. The cool stuff is the cards that you guys may not have heard of before or not used before. We've got things like Barbroid, the ultimate battle machine. It normally takes 5 machine type Roid monsters. This thing has 4000 attack and 4000 defense. This card can make a second attack during each battle phase. So already a very, very hard card to leave. If your opponent wants to leave this on board, they're going to have a very hard time. This thing is... this thing will OTK you very quickly. After damage calculation, if this card attacked an opponent's monster, negate the effects of that monster, including in the graveyard. If this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, inflict 1000 damage to your opponent. Oh boy. So this card is summonable by your new boss monster, so if they destroy Nova, they then have to destroy this as well. Otherwise, yeah, they're going to have a rough time. We've also got things like Super Vicroid Stealth Union. Once per turn, you can target one face-up non-machine type monster on the field, equip that target to this card. While equipped with a monster by this effect, this card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. If this card attacks, its original attack is halved. If this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing damage to your opponent. So you can have a big monster that just kind of yoinks your opponent's stuff, which is kind of cool. You got things like Gatling Dragon. Once per turn, you can toss a coin 3 times and destroy as many monsters in the field as possible, but not more than the number of heads. So there's a lot of cool little targets in here outside of the Cyber Dragon archetype that all you guys probably haven't seen before or don't recognize. Unfortunately, I couldn't personally see any that would make any super big boss monsters that were really immune to destruction or immune in some kind of way or have like some nice protection on them, which is my only concern. Meaning if they do have like a removal for your Nova and they have another lot of removal, that's it. There's nothing else you can do there. But it's good to see that Cyber Dragon Nova itself is a pretty sticky card, or it's a card that's just really hard to be removed, because if they do remove it, unless it's via banish or return to hand removal, they're going to have to deal with something much bigger one second later, which is pretty sick. And yeah, that's basically it for the new deck. We've got a bunch of reprints too, which is cool that they're reprinting Core. That's probably the only one people are really excited about. Rampage 2 is pretty cool. There's a few Cyber Dragon cards that are missing though, which is a bit of a pain. But it's good to see that at least Core, the actual base Cyber Dragon, and Chimera Tech are getting reprints, as they are all pretty high rarity cards and were hard to obtain for some people. So it's good to see that we're getting reprints. Anyway guys, that's going to be it for my... Actually, I think I should give you guys a little bit of summary of how strong I think this deck will be. So, do I think Cyber Dragon will be meta after seeing this? I don't think so. I feel like the fact that there isn't a boss monster to summon with Nova that's immune to stuff or have any good protection on it is kind of very sus to me. There's a lot of ways to do 2 lots of removal in a turn, or 1 lot of removal then pass to your opponent's turn. Like with Gaia, for example, they can remove your monster, then negate their monster's effect using one of the chalices or whatever, pass the turn, and then just nuke it again. So there's plenty of ways to do double removal in Duel Links. So having just Nova on board isn't really enough to me. Especially considering there's already things like Harpy or whatever that just kind of return it to hand. And this card specifically has to get sent to your graveyard, right? Yeah, this card has to be sent to the graveyard. So this card's returned to hand by Cyber Slash, Harpy, or any other return to hand removal, or banished by a Karma card or something. That's just your entire play gone. I can see a lot of cool combos maybe coming out of this deck, especially considering things like Rev System bringing back this guy. I don't know. There's a lot of cool stuff you might be able to do with this deck. It's just... I don't think it's going to be as good as the previous variant of Cyber Dragon, that's what I'm trying to say. I think the previous variant of Cyber Dragon was way stronger than this one. I'm talking about pre-ban list, by the way. I think it's going to be way stronger than this one is going to be. But there's also a good chance that, well, obviously, with every rank 5 monster released, this deck will get stronger, as this is going to be a very nasty rank 5 machine. What am I trying to say? Easy rank 5... engine, that's it. An easy rank 5 engine for any rank 5 monster released from now on, so... yeah, anytime there's a good chance too with the new structure deck being released that in the new box that's coming very soon, there'll be new Cyber Dragon support in there too, or just maybe some new rank 5 monsters. So this might not be all that we're getting, which will make it also a lot stronger. I think with the new stuff alone that this deck should at least be playable. It should be a good little rogue meme deck. Whether or not it's top tier, I think that's more dependent on new box support and new cards that we're getting. Because I think, at very best, this will be just a standard OTK turn 2 deck, maybe, kind of thing. Yeah, I think it's going to be... so it seems kind of rough, because, backrow removal... You can't even run, much backrow removal in the deck because of the... yeah, because of this requirement, so... I don't know. Very sus. Either way, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you guys think this deck will suck? Does it seem exciting? Are you guys excited for it? Let me know your thoughts down below. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I don't normally do this unscripted kind of live-ish style videos, so if you did enjoy, let me know. Yeah, thanks for watching, catch us later, subscribe and all that kind of stuff. Peace.